Welcome back to the Prez Podcast. My guest host, my number two, my sidekick is back this episode. We're going to make our picks for Sunday and Monday. It's Ken. All right, so Ken's back. Let's recap Thursday night first, and then we'll do our 5 key games for the weekend, and then we'll do our quick picks to round out the video so you know what we believe for all the games coming. But let's talk about Thursday night in Jacksonville and New Orleans. Jacksonville builds an early lead. Saints make a furious rally, and then Christian Kirk houses a nice little switch route and takes it like 45 yards down the sideline for a touchdown. Ends up sealing the deal. Poor Foster Moreau drops a touchdown pass, or would-be touchdown pass in the end zone. Feel bad for that guy. Battling back from Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer, and he back on the field, and for him to have that kind of result, you kind of feel for the guy. You could tell he was really dejected by it. But the Jaguars are improving. They're getting better. So I'm seeing the Saints have had. What was that?
Yeah.
Oh, the Saints are having issues, and their cap number is horrific. They're in win now mode, but they're just not great. They're not a good football team. They're an average football team, and they've got some real cap issues, and there's no way to get out of it. They could make the playoffs, but I don't think they'll do a lot of damage. So it's just rough to be a Saints fan right now. For the Jaguars, you're trending in the right direction. You're trying to get up to be the top tier in the AFC and win your division. So I think things are going well. What did you see?
Yeah, so this was a close one-score game. Jaguars ending up winning by a touchdown. The Saints, they had a better offensive game with 407 yards, more first downs, one less turnover, but still at home they weren't able to pull things out. And I do think Jacksonville is the better team and that they should have won this game, and that it looks like in the coming years that they will be a top AFC team, and the Saints, who are the expected favorites,
for the division, yeah.
For the division, at least coming into the season, they just need more young talent on this team, I think.
I agree.
Especially on that defense. Of course, they drafted Brian Brzee, but he's just one guy. So, still, I think that the Saints could improve, but for now, the better team won.
Yeah, if you talk about that defense, their 3 best players, Cameron Jordan, Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu, they're all north of 30, So they got to figure something out. And those are the reasons their cap are so bad. They're paying those guys, along with Derek Carr, way too much money. Anyway, all right. So that's it for Thursday night. Let's get into our 5 key matchups. We got, first up, the Detroit Lions going into Baltimore. Lions 5-1, another big road game against Tampa Bay last week. Baltimore, had some interesting results. That weird game where they lost to the Colts, the game that they blew against the Steelers. But other than that, they've been able to handle teams pretty well. Detroit only has 1 loss, and it came in overtime at home in week 2. Since then, their defense is steadily improving. And that's what I'm looking for. The one problem with Baltimore that I have with them is that they've had some turnover issues and stuff like that, where Detroit has been great about taking care of the football. And Detroit is really good with carrying the football. I know that Goff's streak of interceptions ended, but otherwise he doesn't turn the ball over. He's really smart, and that offensive line is playing really, really well. The big hit for them is David Montgomery will be out this game. It means they're going to lean on Jahmyr Gibbs and Craig Reynolds. But I think they do enough, and I think they have enough to win this game on the road. Give me Detroit in a close one, 23-20.
I agree. The Lions, they've been living up to the hype, and their team is, again, very good, and I think that they are a top team in the NFC. And the Ravens, they're 4-2. Again, I also think they're very good, but the Lions, they've just been playing very well. So, maybe I think this is a good opportunity for Jahmyr Gibbs to see how he plays as the solo back. And if that run game and that offense does well, I think that they will win and outplay the Ravens.
Okay. All right, next up, Cleveland Browns going into Indianapolis. Unfortunately, Colts got some bad news this past week. Anthony Richardson going to have shoulder surgery and be out for the year. Sad to see that rookie lose that and get that injury and not get the playing time he needs, especially for a guy that didn't play that much in college, really sucks. So hope the surgery goes well and he comes back healthy for next year and we get more to see because there's clearly talent there. Just needs a lot of development. Good news for them, they have Gardner Minshew. Didn't play good last week in Jacksonville, but he has been in the league a while, proven vet, can run the offense when needed to. Need to see him play better in this game against the best defense in the league. And I know you're like, the Browns, yeah, look at the numbers. Best defense in the league, giving up 200 yards a game. 200 yards a game. It's ridiculous what they're doing. It is ridiculous. Look what they did to San Francisco last week, completely shut them down. I think that Cleveland comes in this week and just demolishes the Colts. I don't think it's going to be close. I think Cleveland starts going on the right track. And Deshaun was practicing this week. Not worried if he's going to start. I don't know if they're going to make that declaration until Sunday. So who knows? We'll see a quarterback. But he is back and practicing, so that's good news for Browns fans. But give me the Browns. 27-7.
Yeah, so the Browns, of course, they have top defense in the league. Probably the best, top two, I think. And of course, they were able to win against San Francisco and really shut down their offense. And against the top team in the league, that just really shows how good this team was and is. So I think there is maybe a chance that the Colts get an upset win like they did against Baltimore, but with Deshaun Watson not playing, but I still think the Browns are just way better team. I have them winning.
You have them winning as well. All right, another NFC South battle. This one is Atlanta at Tampa Bay. It's kind of a swing game, with the Saints falling to 3-4. The person that wins this game, or team I should say, that wins this game really can take a early stranglehold in the season. If Tampa Bay wins, I think it's 4-2. And Atlanta, Desmond Ridder at home versus on the road is a different animal. He seems to play much better at home. Tampa Bay's defense did pretty well again, except for some big plays against Detroit. The problem was Tampa Bay couldn't get anything going offensively. I know that Atlanta, gave up all those points to Washington. That's because of Desmond Ridder turnovers mostly last week. It wasn't because the Washington offense was playing great. So I think this will be a lower scoring game than people think.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to take the better quarterback in this game, which is crazy to say, but I'm taking Baker Mayfield and the Bucs to win at home 20-16.
Yeah, I agree that this will be a close, low-scoring game, NFC South matchup. And Desmond Ridder has been playing better, but he's still not that great of a quarterback. And the Buccaneers have been known to have a good run defense. So I think that they could be able to shut down the Falcons' offense. And if they do that, I think they have a good window for the win here. So I have them winning.
Okay. Next up, we got the Steelers with a home-road game. Road-home game? Home-road game? Road-home game. How would you say that?
I'm not sure.
I'm going to say road-home game. Because they're playing in Los Angeles where there are no fans of the Rams or the Chargers. So SoFi will be half Steelers, most likely, if not 70% Steelers fans in LA. So Steelers coming off a bye. A lot of talk about fire Matt Canada. I will say that their offensive line hasn't been great. The run game's been inconsistent, and obviously their offense isn't what they want it to be. You're worried about Kenny Pickett's development. You see Stephen Burst, obviously that great throw to Pickens 2 weeks ago to help him seal that game over the Ravens. But you really don't know. But on the defensive side, they can still create a pass rush, but their corners are still developing. And they're playing a Rams team that can move the football. Now, the problem with the Rams is their defense is a little inconsistent. They've got some nobodies, but they're playing better throughout the week. They played better against Arizona. Don't get me wrong, Arizona is a bad, feisty team. They can be feisty sometimes, but they held them to under 10 points. But Aaron Donald's still a beast. This game is hard for me to pick.
Yeah.
It's probably the toughest matchup. But it could be a big game for this. Pittsburgh's trying to contend for their division, and the Rams are trying to stay within range of San Francisco and Seattle in that division. Man, you know what? I'm just gonna go Matt Stafford at home, kinda at home game. Give me the Rams.
Yeah, again, this is. I mean, there's a game later that you could say is tougher, but for me, this is the toughest decision because I feel like this could really go either way. The Steelers and the Rams, they both have issues, but they've both had really good moments. So I don't. This is. I think I'm gonna pick the Steelers because I think that if they do play well and the Rams, if their offense does do well and their defense plays good enough, maybe they have a chance of winning.
Okay. All right. Matchup of the week. I think the matchup of the week in everybody's mind. It is the Miami Dolphins going to Philadelphia to play the Eagles. Eagles will be wearing their Kelly Green uniforms. Gonna be a pretty uniform combination. I hope Miami wears their all whites. So I think that'll look great. And if they were in their original all whites, it'd be sick. Against the Eagles. Eagles coming off that heartbreaking loss to the Jets. Hurts through 3 picks. Got a couple guys banged up. But the good news is Eagles are getting a lot of guys back. For Miami, you just took care of business at home against 2 bad teams in the Giants and Carolina. And, besides their road win against the Chargers, I'm trying to think of what Miami's best win is. I mean, obviously people are going to say, oh, they dropped 70 on the Broncos. The Broncos suck. So, this is going to be, when last time they went on the road against a tough opponent, they went to Buffalo, they got smacked, 48-20. Wasn't close. They got demolished. And now they're going against a wounded animal, an angry Philadelphia team that's going to be hyped wearing those Kelly. That crowd is going to be crazy in Philadelphia. I'm taking the Eagles. I think that offensive line is going to push Miami around a little bit, and I think they're going to be mad, and I think they're going to run the ball right at Miami and get enough pressure on Tua to offset his rhythm. I think they get a couple of turnovers. I like the Eagles by 10.
So this is basically a 50-50 game. I could see either of these teams winning, but I feel like I have the Eagles winning, just like you. I mean, the Dolphins, of course, they've shown how great their offense is, but yeah, when they played against the Bills, they did not play well against another top team in the league, and the Eagles are right there with the Bills. So, yeah, and their run game against the Dolphins' defense and their defensive line, who hasn't been that great, I think that the Eagles, their offense is going to play well. I have them win.
Okay. All right, those are our 5 key matchups. Let's do the last 7 quick picks. Here we go. First up, Buffalo at New England. You look at this game on paper, you think Buffalo goes in New England and blows them out, especially with recent history. You look at how Buffalo has dominated the Patriots, winning 4 out of the last 5. But I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm taking Buffalo, but I think New England keeps it close.
Yeah, so Patriots are 1-5, and the Buffalo is one of the best teams in the league. I think this one is pretty easy. I'm taking the Bills.
Next up, we got a battle of quarterbacks you never heard of. Aiden O'Connell versus Tyson Bagent in the Who Cares Bowl in Chicago. The Las Vegas Raiders playing the Chicago Bears. But even if you take the quarterbacks out of the equation, I think the Raiders have a better team overall. Give me the Raiders.
I agree. They're both not great teams, but the Raiders are just. I think they're a little bit better, and they just have a better overall team. So yeah, I have the Raiders win.
All right, next up, we got the Commanders going into New York. These teams played 2 really good games last week, one of them ending in a tie last year. So, Tyrod Taylor playing and Daniel Jones out. Offense looked better. Team looked better with Tyrod Taylor at the helm last week. Playing against the Commanders team that got a big road win, but they have some defensive issues. They gave up a lot of yards to Atlanta, even though they won that game. And they are 29th in defense right now, which is crazy considering how good their front 4 is. And the Giants don't have an offensive line. Like, another guy blew his bicep out this week. They're hiring guys off of couches. Justin Pugh literally was sitting at home and they said, "Hey, you like football? Do you want to play?" And he said, "Okay." So that's how bad the Giants' offensive line is. With that said, you know what? I think I'm gonna give me the home team. Give me the New York Football Giants.
So the Giants have been one of the worst teams in the league, and the Commanders. Yeah, I think if the Giants' O-line has not been good, of course, even a few weeks back against the Seahawks, of course, in what isn't that amazing of a pass rush, destroyed them. So with the Commanders and their D-line, even with talks of potentially trading Chase Young or Montez Sweat, I still think that the Commanders are going to win this one.
By the way, the Commanders totally should trade Chase Young. They didn't extend him to a fifth-year rookie deal. I don't think they want to pay him a lot of money. They need a lot of help on the O-line and other positions. If I'm the Commanders, I'd trade Chase Young. All right, next up, Arizona Cardinals going back to Seattle for their annual trip to Seattle. Cardinals got some good news this week as Kyler Murray is back practicing, but he will not play this week, so it'll be Joshua Dobbs, who has been more than serviceable as a backup and given them a chance. Problem is the Cardinals have a depleted roster. Seattle is going to be home angry from their defeat in Cincinnati last week. Give me the Seahawks.
Yeah, divisional game, of course. Yeah, Seahawks, after a tough loss to the Bengals. I think this one is Seattle is just a better team overall. I have them.
All right. Next up, Green Bay Packers go to Denver. Green Bay coming off a bye. Didn't look so great in the last game. Jordan Love has been kind of hit or miss with his play. Broncos defense has been missing in action for the whole season. So really it's kind of like who takes over. I know Russell Wilson's played better than most people think. He gets a lot of the blame, but I don't think he's the problem. Is Aaron Jones healthy? Do you know? I'm asking that. Is he healthy? You don't know?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Let's flip a coin here.
It's not really a coin.
Give me the Packers.
Yeah, of course, the Packers, they looked good at the beginning of the year, and the Broncos, they've not been great overall. So I think the Packers are the better team overall. They look pretty good. Probably second best team in the NFC North. I have them winning.
Okay. Next up, big game for the Los Angeles Chargers. But I am noticing a little bit of a trend. They won the first two. They lost the first two games. Then they won 2 games. If they go to Kansas City, they're going to lose 2 games. And I looked at their schedule. I think they're going to win the next 2 games. I think that's the Chargers season, and that's basically what it's like being a Chargers fan. You get hope, and it's crushed. You get hope, and then it's dashed. You get hope, and then someone breaks their ankle. That's what happens with your Charger fan. Give me the Chiefs. And a close one, though.
Yeah, the Chargers have caused a bit of trouble for the Chiefs in the past, but the Chiefs are just one of the best teams in the league. So I think that with the way the Chargers have been playing, the Chiefs are going to win this one easily.
So the 49ers are coming off a loss. They get an extra day's rest from all their beat-up guys, and they're going against a Minnesota team that is without their best player. I don't think I need to say anything else. 49ers.
Yeah, 49ers.
Okay. All right. Those are the picks for the week. Have a great weekend enjoying your football. We'll be back on Tuesday with our recap/power rankings. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.